Welcome to the Global Center for Christ Consciousness. And I'd now like to join together in welcoming our guest musician for today. Let's give a loving round of applause for Jaya Lakshmi.
This is a devotional prayer and song, just calling for a deeper connection to God and feeling more love for God, and then also the Ho'oponopono prayers of forgiveness, which open our heart even more to God and bring in harmony in our life in all aspects. It's kind of a medley. Krishnaya Govindaya Gopijana Vallabhaya Klim Krishnaya Govindaya Gopijana Vallabhaya Klim Krishnaya Govindaya Gopijana Vallabhaya Klim Krishnaya Govindaya Gopijana Vallabhaya Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. I want to thank you for this life. I want to thank you for this love and all that it brings. I want to thank you for this life. I want to thank you for this love and all that it brings. Ho'oponoponopono, 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 all things in right relationship. Ho'oponoponopono, Ho'oponoponopono, Ho'oponoponopono. I just wanna thank you for this life, for this life. I just wanna thank you for this love, for this love. Whoa.
Heavenly Father, Mother God, whose presence is heaven, our hearts and souls rise to give praise, to give glory, to give thank you that you've created us in your image, that we are perfectly capable of total love, total peace, joy, oneness, abundance. So we ask you to teach us how to forgive others who reflect our own amnesia of our power. We ask you to give us the strength, the clarity to forgive ourselves for all our projections and all our beliefs and lack, limitation, the value of the valueless. Let us be restored to your knowing who we really are, what we're truly capable of, and only capable of, which is love. Help us to see this in each other's eyes and bring this to the presence of each other's experience. We say farewell to all forms of duality, religious, political, personal, and we ask to feel oneness of all, as you know one is to be. And so it is.
You can say that word with me. All in harmony. One more time. I want to thank you for this life. I want to thank you for this love and all that it brings. I want to thank you for this life. I want to thank you for this love and all that it brings. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You can sing with me. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Thank you, Jaya Lakshmi, everybody. And please join me in reading our mission statement, which you will find on the white cards in the seat backs in front of you. And together we say, the Global Center for Christ Consciousness is a spiritual center for students and masters on the spiritual path. We are dedicated to awakening the inner Christ and to creating a world of love, peace, joy, and abundance. And now for our sacred reading for today.
From White Eagle, you long to do something to help others. We tell you that the greatest work of all is to develop the Christ light within your soul. to finally turn toward the perfect love of God within. It is that devotion to that love, freely given, in whatever form of expression, endeavor, or worship, that brings God's divine response. For the Son is born in you, in all humanity, and your special work, and ours, is to learn how to project that light into the darkness of ignorance here on earth. And so it is.
And let's give another warm welcome to our guest musician for today, Jaya Lakshmi.
So I tend to write songs in medleys, and so I'll begin with an English beginning, an English verse, and then this song is about transformation and letting go, and it celebrates Lord Shiva, who is the Hindu deity in Shaivism, also of transformation. So Lord Shiva facilitates transformation and transmutation. So the second part will be a kirtan. So we're gonna, it'll be call response. So I'm gonna be like, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya 4 times, and then you guys will say it too, okay? And we'll get that energy moving, you know. There are some other words to it, so we'll see how you guys do. I may throw out another verse, another little line. So, emerging from the darkness of night into the brilliance of morning light. Holding the balance of heart and mind, dancing on the edge of time. Gazing into the infinite sky, all of life is passing by, turning back into this sacred ground like a prayer wheel spinning round. Spinning round. Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya Namah Om. Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya Namah Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Yeah, Shiva. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Mahadeva Shambho, Mahadeva Shambho. Shambho, yeah, Shiva. Mahadeva Shambho, Mahadeva Shambho. Shiva Shankara Namah Shivaya. Shiva Shiva Shankara Namah Shivaya. Shiva. Hara Hara Bom Bom Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Bom Bom Namah Shivaya. Mahadeva Shambho, Mahadeva Shambho. Mahadeva Shambho, Mahadeva Shambho. All right, a little faster now. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Shiva. Mahadeva Shambho, Mahadeva Shambho. Shiva Shiva Shankara Namah Shivaya. Shiva Shiva Shankara Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Bom Bom Namah Shivaya. Hara Hara Bom Bom Namah Shivaya. Mahadeva Shambho, Mahadeva Shambho. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Shiva. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. Gazing into the infinite sky, all of life is passing by. Turning back into this sacred ground like a prayer wheel spinning round. Spinning round. Om Namah Shivaya.
Good morning, everyone. Om Namah Shivaya. What would you like me to talk about today? Pardon? To your left and to your right.
God expanding into greater and greater amounts of love through us. Brain fog. This awareness in everyday life.
Pardon?
This awareness in everyday integration.
Okay, good. Thanks.
Healing ourselves and others.
Hold on. Thanks. Okay. When I said that's enough, what was that one?
Oh, healing ourselves and others. Early family death.
Early family what?
Premature or early family death.
Okay. Thanks. Now that's enough. Get ready. No. Wow. One of the most diverse lists we've had. Ranging from healing self and others, awareness, love, God expanding, and so on. It's a lot. And then there's other ones that really, it's an interesting thing. This world has so much breadth or diversity, I guess you could say, of topics, of things that happen. So quite a paint palette if you think about it. In God, there's just bliss. There's just perfect love. And then we come to a world and we have all kinds of things. It's like, all the, and just everything's all over the place. In God, there's oneness, there's nothing you need. And yet in the world, it's filled with stuff. Relationship stuff to solve, so things we think we need, and so on. And that's okay that we're there in our belief systems for now. But to get to the root of it all, to really understand, and it's very simple. Remember or memorize this. You have three selves. The spiritual self, upper three chakras. The soul, here. And then the lower three chakras, the human self. Just keep that in mind, and it'll already solve a lot of mysteries and riddles. Well, if there's a God, why did stuff go wrong in this world? Wait, we're talking about two different worlds. Heaven and hell. Where everything is and things seem to be. This one here is my soul that has to decide, which one do I want to believe? And the world keeps screaming up to our soul, believe me. And God just whispers as a still voice, or not. It says, or not, believe that. There is love. I'm too busy to focus on love and bliss. God, you don't understand. The world we live in has challenges and we're distracted. And you can choose love. It just maintains this call for love. Return to sanity. No, we're too busy. Brain fog and healing, death and disease, elections, all kinds of things to mess with people. And look how even spiritual people, for years they can, Om Mani Padme, everything's cool, everything's peaceful, and then an election comes. And all the chants go from Om Mani Padme to I hate you. It's weird. It's just weird. Making religion out of anything is weird. You're going to go to hell because you didn't vote for my person. You're going to go to hell because you don't eat what I think you should eat. That's what we're all really doing is we're thinking we have a belief and everybody else should follow it or else. Well, how is that different from the religions you condemn for judging people? Look how easily we slip. And it's amazing to look at the, God, the hypocrisy and the silliness. We chant in the drumming circles and on the red rocks all year long. Everything's sweet. And then an election comes. And people are up there throwing their drums off of the mountain down at the people below who probably didn't vote for their favor. It's like, it's really weird. It's kind of sad, but it's understandable because humans are dysfunctional. So when people say, my higher self, I'm asking my higher self who to vote for. I'm asking my higher self whether this is true or not. I'm asking my higher self for guidance. What higher self are you talking about? Well, that you don't even know, and yet you're using the words. You have a highest self, which is the perfect I am presence of God. You have a higher self, your soul. And then you have your human self, the one that believes it's calling out for help from your higher self. But there's a difference between your higher and highest. How many times in history have you heard people say, I'm going to ask my highest self? You've heard higher self a lot because people don't know how to go all the way, so they accidentally don't even know the phrase highest self because we subconsciously think we're unworthy. So I'll just go to my higher self. Think about it. It's a subconscious way of I'll just go part way there. And you know what? God actually is okay with that. That's all you believe in, at least you believe in something. When you don't ask for a higher guidance, which is going to be love-based, what you're doing is you're allowing your humanness to make your decisions. And that's every day. People looking at labels at the store, people deciding on who to vote for, all these things, they're not being asked of your higher or highest self. It's the human self, because I know what's right. I meaning what? Your intellect, that's part of your ego lower self. It's kind of interesting. Why would you want to ask the mind that messed you up in the first place for advice? It kind of doesn't make sense. Anyway, the pictures that come to me. Anyway, this highest self can really only hold the presence of love and peace and joy. And if you, in your decision making, again, politics, food, whatever, in your decision making, if you're not ready for just an answer of love, then you can't go to your highest self. You've already excluded yourself from divine guidance. Divine guidance can't say, well, I'm with you. I hate that other person too. It can't happen. So you can't make God agree with you, which then becomes annoying to people. So they just go to this self, which this self is okay. It's higher than the human self, but it's not holy. But it's okay if this is where you can go, your higher self. There's a saying we use often, as above, so below. What it ultimately means is, as above, God could manifest below in my day-to-day life. But this is also above my human self. So most people, as above, so below, means this. As above in heaven, you're not in heaven, you're here at your soul. As above in my soul, so below. So when my soul says, I want to improve my life, you can start manifesting it below. Your beliefs here, however, are very objective. As above, so below isn't just like a spiritual mantra. It means as you believe above will manifest below. If I have unhealed wounds, as above, so below. Now in my day-to-day life, even though I'm saying, hey, higher self, give me some help here. Higher self's going, I did. You have unhealed wounds and I'm higher than you. And you have unhealed wounds, so they're manifesting for you to heal them. Oh, that's a major inconvenience. That's not at all what I was hoping for. Even things, you're asking about things like death of loved ones. It's unexpected and so on. It never has happened that someone on a soul level didn't know they were going to die. It can't happen. We believe we live in ignorance. We think we don't know anything. Why didn't they tell me? Why didn't I know? Why did God let this happen? It's so bizarre because everything's moving vibrationally as the belief systems are bringing it about to manifest. We sit in the lower self trying to describe what's right and fair, who should be voted for, whether someone should die or not, and so on. The human self trying to dictate the way the world should go. And the human self is nothing but broken. It's not a good advisor. But we stand around trying to let our intellect, our emotions, or our human experiences, the lower three chakras, dictate the way things should be. That's why one of the great mantras is, I know nothing. It doesn't mean you don't know anything up here and to some degree here. What it means is I'm surrendering the part of me, the little control freak, human self that wants to tell me what should be when it knows nothing. And people have near-death experiences, and they just lost a loved one, they just got divorced, their best friend ran off with their partner, and all these dramas. And then they have a near-death experience, and they're on the other side going, oh, this totally makes sense. We fell out of love 20 years ago. They're just moving on quicker, which kind of annoys me. I wanted to be the one to do it. It's all starting to make sense. And someone that I love died. They're like, no, I was tired of being around you. I'm out of here. Bye. And they beam up. And you're like, this was bad, this was bad. And on the other side, you're like, oh, it all makes sense. I lost my pooch. The dog just wanted to go. It was like, I'm tired of the way you speak to me, man. Come here, baby. And I'm like an intelligent being. Could you just talk to me like I'm actually, look at you on the streets, You make me go on the streets in front of people. You get a bathroom, I have to go on the streets. And you, did you poopy? Oh, look at you. Look at you. And the dog's like, is there a car coming, man? I want to check out. Anyway, so people inevitably ask, then if we're divine beings, and you are, how did you end up in a not so divine world? How could that happen? And then there's spiritual teachers who are not very spiritual, who will answer the question. And they will come up with these seemingly brilliant answers. If we're divine beings, how did we end up in a not so divine world? Some of them will go, well, we believe God wanted to complete itself by exploring the world of illusion. Okay? Which sounds, there's people out there that go, that makes sense. It actually doesn't. God wanted to complete its library. How could God go, I just found there's a volume missing. Pain and suffering. I would like to complete that. So I'm going to send you people into the world to gather information, like your little space probes, and just send me back all the experiences. That did not happen, but some people actually believe that. I mean, you guys have heard channels and stuff talk about that. Another theory they come up with, if God is divine and God is all there is, then rape and war and suffering is part of God. And there's people, I never thought of that. No, it doesn't make sense. For that to be true, first of all, the world of illusion would have to be real. Secondly, we would have to believe in a God that isn't complete and is trying to complete itself. So if you think about these theories that they give you about why the world is the way it is, think of it, all it is intellectual kind of theories. You see what I'm saying? Why? Because they don't know the truth. And the truth is, God cannot change. God is not incomplete. God can only be love. So what happened is, we made in God's image said, and I've said this many times, but we made in God's image, perfect state of love, said to ourselves, well, we have all kinds of capabilities. We have this vast palette to paint from. And we said, what is it like to be loved? Whoa! Oh my God, this is amazing. What's it like to feel peace? Boom! And we're just going through the co-creator guidebook, checking out all these experiences. We plug it in and go, I am. What's it like to be one? I am. You see, and it's just beautiful. But one of them had, because of free will, one of the options had to be. And I wonder what it would be like to be separate from God. Well, the truth of the matter is, you can't be separate from all there is. Think of the logic of that. How can I be separate from all? It's all. So when we flip to that page, what's this one? Separation. Something very interesting happened, and that is, what would it be like to be separate becomes a virtual reality program that we put on, like a headset, and everything that could ever have gone on in the world of separation, meaning time, limitation, suffering, even seemingly good things, beautiful sunsets, but they fade, they're gone. Like Buddha said, even the beautiful things, they end. Because this world offers you nothing. Jesus says it, Buddha says it, any of us with the great wisdom understand it. This world offers nothing. That doesn't mean you should get all depressed about it. It's just that it really doesn't offer anything real and eternal. So then what's the value? Well, ultimately, there isn't any value in this world. That's why mystics are usually depressed. Because they see it and then they go, that helped. Give me some mead. Something to drink. However, when you go beyond that, beyond the initial hit of this world is a place of suffering. It's a place of limitation. We said, what would it like to be like to be separate? And this is the answer. It all explodes into, So now, all of us will experience every possible form of separation. I don't care if you have one nice lifetime, you're still going to need to know what loss is like, because we asked what it would be like. The only way you can cancel out that request is to take ownership that you chose it in the first place and then forgive yourself. That's all. If you don't own it, you can't forgive it. And if you don't forgive it, it can't go away. So we stay stuck in this. And there's some really trippy things to consider here. Mystics, the apostles, Magdalene, God, all these beings that have been fantastic, they still incarnate again. Unless they become ascended masters, which is 1 in a million, 1 in a billion even at times. But Moses, an ascended master. Mother Mary, an ascended master. Everybody else still incarnates. I was talking to somebody about this recently, where there are people like, great masters that they have this awareness, and they still have to come back and incarnate. Whether it's Magdalene, whether it's the apostles, they still incarnate. And people have asked, but why if they woke up? Because, and this is hard to explain, but to a degree they woke up, but they still need to complete all their beliefs that need healed. Just because you realize it's an illusion doesn't necessarily mean you don't have any of those illusions still clinging to you. Now you know you have illusions clinging. That's what awakening looks like. Oh, I messed up. I'm kind of weird. I kind of have these compulsions and addictions that control my life. Wow, you see it. Now you're on the right track. But it doesn't mean now that I know they're there, everything's done. It's like realizing you have cheesecake in the refrigerator. Doesn't mean you've had some. You just know it's there. It's my version of heaven. Anyway. So we've got these awarenesses that come to us. And these mystics, like Helen, who wrote A Course in Miracles, she scribed it or channeled it. She was a pain, man. She was in pain, and she was a pain of a person. How do you write A Course in Miracles, people say, and not be totally blissed out? Wait. Because on the other side, you become a person who awakens. You walk in there, and they're all golf clap. All of heaven, the angels, their wings are going, clapping their wings. Everybody honors you because you got it and you woke up. It's really nice. And you're like, wow, this is kind of cool. I finished the race. Good job. Good job. And you're like, is something wrong? Well, no. You can just stay here and bliss out. Well, what's wrong? Oh, I don't know. There's just a lot of people on earth suffering that could really use your presence. Yeah. Oh, fine. And you end up signing up to come back. That's one version of what happens. You get it, but you still have to come back because people need help. But there's another piece to it that's sort of extra challenging. When you get it, it's very frustrating to be stuck in a body that doesn't get it. When you get it and you beam into a family where heaven's going, you could probably help these people. We don't know anybody else that wants to volunteer for this family. But we think because of certain connections you have, you might be able to plant a seed before they kick you out. You might be able to plant a seed before this and this and this. And, on the other side, it looks like, that's a breeze. You haven't yet landed. When you look at it from the other side, you just see a family of dysfunctional people, perhaps. And you're like, I just feel so blissed out. When I arrive, they're all going to get it. They're just going to go, hold it. As you're coming out of the womb, my life is changing by the very delivery of my child. My dad used to sarcastically call me the anointed one. Is the anointed one coming for Christmas this year? Because it was his sarcastic way of, this guy, I just live this way, and he's like, oh, whatever. He wasn't going to get it. So what do? Do you give up on them? No. Do you try to change them? No. What do? You stay with this right here. You stay in your immunity, your clarity, your knowing. I didn't do that at 10. I suffered at 10, and maybe you'll suffer at 30 for that matter. But we're sent into these places to make a difference, just not always in the form we might think. We might think they were going to all just kneel and honor us, and it doesn't go that way usually. So it's an amazing compliment. I know what I'm saying. I know it sounds weird, but it's an amazing compliment that Spirit finds a strategic location for you to bring light. And, and I'm sorry that at the time we don't know and it hurts. But it's like that. And then, besides what you can bring to the world, just being in here, it's like having a completely powerful, strong, functional, healthy body, but having short circuits in the brain that make you seem special needs to other people. It's very frustrating that I can't convey to you what I know inside. Do you get what I'm saying? There are people that know so much, but they're not able to articulate it in the way that the average conversation. And that's not just like you say, oh, that's sad. Or you might say they're special people. I'm telling you that inside it's frustrating to know this and only be told to bring only this much. It causes an anxiety inside. Edgar Cayce was a wonderful, clear channel, the way, oh my God, right? But he was a chain smoker, which to you might be normal or might not. It depends on, the era we live in. Oh, that's normal. It's not the point. He was a chain smoker because it was the only way he could cope with the anxiety of feeling everyone all the time. You have to. A lady came to me who was a well-known soprano opera singer years ago, and she says to me, I've heard you can really work miracles. I want you to help me lose weight. And I said, as long as you're willing to stop singing. And she's, what? No. When you're a singer of that vibration, that sound, this boom, this high frequency, your body's going, quick, fatten up, get dense, get some barrier between. It's too much. It's too much. So she needs her body to be a barrier, to sort of absorb the blow. Is that making sense? And it happens to, not just a soprano, not just a singer, artists. It's very common. Throughout history, the artisans, too much drinking and the drugs and the opiates and so on. Why? Because they're very sensitive beings and they don't know how else to cope with these things. I'm not excusing it. I'm saying it's coping. It's using stuff of this world. Are there other ways to cope or deal with these things? Yes. Prayer, communion. And I have to say, and that's what I've done a lot in my life. I never really thought to myself, I think I'll try out this to numb I've never done that. But that was extra challenging. If I wasn't going to use drugs and alcohol or whatever people do to kind of distract from the sensitivities or the pains and and so on. And when you're like this, teaching in an open channel, you have all these frequencies coming in. It's a good idea. Take something, man. Drink something, man, because it's hard to handle. But I never chose to do that. And it took me years to realize what I'm doing to myself. By not imbibing in the distractions of the world, it was extra challenging to be in this body. And to me, it just seems normal to do it this way. But there's times when I've looked back and went, wow, I should have had a drink. Not literally, but I can understand why. But I know this, if ever I were to go, if any of us, once we go that direction, it's hard to come back. Because once you find a seeming shortcut to cope, just a little takes the edge off. I totally understand why you would want to take the edge off. I feel that edge 24/7 in the work that I do. But I'm kind of used to it. And I'm kind of insane. In my own, just in my eccentricities, it's just, I'm a little, funny that way. I think, I walk through my house just singing, and it could be whatever I'm singing. I mean, and you just think you're UPS. You get out of your truck, you walk over, you're putting this package, you're doing your, and you hear this, and I'm like, Bismillah, no, we will not let you, as I'm washing my hands, and getting a soda and put it in the freezer because I like it chilled, and I just sometimes think, shh, Michael, dude, who knows? UPS could show up. You'll scare the guy, It's true. This is my own little bizarre, eccentric kind of reality. And when you really know the truth, there's this other thing that happens. No more settling. There's no more just any date would do. And it's not just like any intimacy will be okay. It's you start to go and you think things through a little more. Intimacy, yeah, that's fine. No, but wait, what's the point of it? Body needs, that's the same as an addiction, to numb, and kind of chill. And well, I just want to, kind of work off some tension. Really? Put that out there, Send out a mass text. Anybody willing to help me with some tension release? Anybody that says, yes, don't be with them. You should already not want to be with somebody that would say, yes, let me help you release your tension. Or that whole thing about when you have a headache, you should have sex. It helps you. No. Listen, Michael, I've got a headache. Would you mind? No. Take an aspirin, get through it. Let's look at what it is, then talk to me. By then, I'll be out of the mood. Good. So we saved ourselves another loop of illusion. See, and it's like this that'll get you into trouble because you don't just do things that people do. I need a coffee to wake up. No, you don't. I need sex to work off tension. No, you don't. I need something to numb my anxiety. No, you don't. I say no, you don't meaning in reality. Try to walk reality in this world and you're outgunned. Because everything in this world is about what you need. In here, I need nothing. Out here, that's all that exists. Needs of some kind. Feeling pretty good, and then you turn on the TV and it tells you, if you're over 50, that's me. Wait, turn it up. And you have hair, it might be a sign of illness. Oh my God. This is, and they sell you something. Over 50 with hair and eyebrows, then, you need this or else. And this world is selling you constantly lies and illusions and so on. But it's the same thing when you meet somebody and, and it feels like there's something you need. Ultimately, what we want to do is learn to show up and bring completeness to people. I'm not perfect, but my intent is working on becoming a healthier, complete person. Does that resonate with you to spend time together, whether it's a lifetime or a moment? And that's what you're looking for. That's what we're ultimately looking for. People constantly settle, but they're settling. You can't settle if you really know who you are, but you can settle when you kind of believe, but you aren't sure. And people will mirror your uncertainties. When you know, it's like dog whisperer and horse whisperers, and you get on a horse and you just try to tell it what to do. It's like, that's not how this works. Boom, and it bolts, and you're like holding on for dear life. Because the world does the same thing. You not knowing who you are, the world will test it. It will test it. The woman writes A Course in Miracles, and she has anxiety, and she died very painfully. Why? Why does Mary Magdalene reincarnate and go through challenges? Why the apostles? You would think they came in with some, e-tickets. I've got a chip that Jesus gave me, and it says that I can avoid all losses. It doesn't happen that way. When you're on the other side and you're talking to the greatest masters, whomever you're dealing with, they're going to explain, you're going to forget this when you get there. But we're sending you in to bring light. You're not going in to have kids. You're not going in to get married or to graduate or to retire with a golden watch. You're going in for two things: your own belief in lessons in healing for you and what you can bring to others. Your lessons in healing. Well, let's pretend you said, well, I've been told I'm clear. I've ascended beyond that. Great. We could still use your help bringing light to people. So you come in believing like, woo, this consciousness, and you're told to keep it down. Don't shine too much. Don't even look too forgiving. People will even shame you for being too forgiving. I don't know, man, you seem awfully too forgiving. If I were you, I would start taking out contracts on all of them. Well, I was, silly me, I was kind of thinking that love and, get your head out of the clouds. Love. So, one of you asked about God expanding. It's not, God doesn't need to expand. It's already in a state of perfection. That's hard for the human mind to understand. And when you, made in God's image, say, I'm here to learn, yes, to learn and heal what you think you need to learn and heal. If you ask God, do I have anything to learn and heal? God's going, how could that be true? You can't need any to learn and heal if you just accept who you really are. So our path is not learning and healing like we think. It just looks that way. It's actually just remembering. The very moment that we said, what would life be like if we could separate? This is very important to understand. In one fraction of 1 second, we asked the question and the answer was already there. What would life be like? This is what it looked like in eternity, timelessness. Here's the chronology of timelessness, which makes no sense because it's timeless. But here's the chronology. Wow. Wait, what if we could be separate? No, we can't. Wow, and we're back. The very moment we thought it, it's like, that's funny. You can't be separate. And we were done. But what happened is wow, and then what if, and then wow, back to God. It was instead wow, what if, and we dropped through a veil and created a universe where it all plays out. If you were walking on the floorboards of heaven, there's one hole in the ground that we dropped through. And now we're like, I need to evolve until the day I become perfect. God's going, but you're already perfect. No, we're not. Oh, that's the problem. You haven't yet experienced total forgiveness of others first and yourself. And the third forgiveness is this. It's to God. Because why did God let this even happen? Well, up here, it didn't happen. So there's nothing to forgive God for. But when you've fallen into your human self, you fall prey to limited beliefs. So why do we have an imperfect world when we're supposedly perfect beings? Because we chose to believe that we're imperfect. And then we have this world. And yes, it does have things like death and so on. God says, I'm giving you a palette to create, to co-create and paint love, peace, joy, oneness, and it's perfect. We manufactured, what if we had another palette? And that's when the universe was created. What if we had another palette where we paint time, distance, karma, lessons, healing, wounds, separation, of any kind? But we have free will and we can. And actually, we're really only being our true selves when we use our will to say, instead of venting, the palette called the venting palette, it's the drop that and I surrender to the palette of God. And that's what you do when you pray. When you say, your will be done, that's what you're doing really is, how can I go back to painting from that palette? When you say, I want to forgive someone, you are being given a palette to paint with. And it would look like better communication, and it would look like brighter colors, higher vibrations, less illness and stress. That's what would be painted from that palette, if we but make that decision. But it is a decision we have to make. We say, why does God let this happen? It didn't happen. It's our dream. Well, then why did God? That's why we still have to forgive God, because we think God allowed us to fall. Why didn't God tell Adam and Eve in the story? They're eating from the tree of judgment and so on and so on. So they're falling now. Why didn't God just go into the garden, grab them and say, no? Because God is saying, how could you know your divinity by me just telling it to you? You have to know it. You have to choose it. Well, right now, we're not choosing it. And we act like imbeciles in this world and attack each other and hurt each other. The more people realize the God in me would never do such things to you, and the God in you would never have them done. So the more I surrender to the God in me and the God in you, these things start to fade away. It isn't by human design and human laws that we perfect this world. It's through consciousness. because that's what God is, divine consciousness. So God's saying, look, you're choosing your human self to make decisions. And that's what politics and science are. They're these lower chakras trying to fabricate a world that seems okay. Even the palette of separation and pain has some nice colors, but they're not true colors. They're just things that make the world look nicer once in a while. Everything's going to be okay because we've got a better president, because we've got a better science system, or whatever you think it is. None of those things can help. Consciousness is what helps. The time will come where we spend life on earth for a period of time, and I mentioned this last week, but the time will come where knowing God will be our law. We won't need governed because we will be the governor, God's presence. But while people still believe they're separate, they act insanely. They hurt each other. They take things out on each other, and so they seemingly need governed. But the government of any kind, science, medicine, I understand that some of you are like, well, thanks a lot. I'm a scientist. I'm an architect. I'm a biologist. I know that those are cool things in this world. They will not fix this world. They can't, because they're made up from the same mind that destroyed this world. We've got to go into love-based consciousness. Okay, so how do we do it? Well, vote for me. And I'm going to make all of those systems change. No. Even if you tried to make change, they'll just shoot you for trying to make changes. So what good is that? Well, there's other options. And the only other good option is start here. I'm going to start calling upon my highest self to speak into my higher self, to then manifest into my lower self. Not lower as in bad, just human self. I will call upon God to speak to my soul, and my soul to channel that message into my human self, to my life, day-to-day life. I'm becoming the change I want to see in the world. Now I go to the other side, and I might still be sent back. And it seems tragic that after all this work, you become a master, you still come back. And like I said, that's challenging, but when you see it from the other side, it totally makes sense. There are people that you can help that no one else on the planet can help, believe it or not. People, out of all the people on your street, out of all the people at your place of business, people you meet on the bus or whatever it happens to be, somehow you're unique enough to have been the person holding that torch or that light in that moment. And that's very beautiful, isn't it? It's very humbling, but it's also, wow. I mean, there's a wow factor to that. God saying, look, you have a former life, addiction or prostitution or abuse to others or to you. And whatever your formula is, your recipe, you're blonde, you're brunette, you're male, female, large nose, small nose, all these things. We believe God is an intelligence that's pretty profound. Try to imagine that spirit and all the hierarchy of spirit, including your guardian angels, would select you because of your hair color, shape of your nose, your disposition, your height, your clothing. It's exactly the person we need today to go to that street corner and smile at someone. And we're just thinking, oh, whatever, it's just nothing. You have no idea, because you're in the human self that sees nothing clearly. You just go to the other side, not only to heaven and highest self, even when you go to the other side and become a soul again between lifetimes, it becomes so much clearer. That random meeting was not random. That incident, wow. That party you went to, the bus rides every day that fatigued you, whatever it is, to try to imagine that when you surrender that experience to God, all the more that God and all the hierarchy of light will manifest something profound. And sometimes we believe in that. We go, God, I had this miracle happen today. And it's pretty cool to share those stories. We think it's just those times when a miracle happened. We don't realize it's also times when there were struggles, So if you're in a challenging situation and you're going, well, okay, I want a miracle. I want this person to not be sick or to not die. That's the miracle I want. And you don't know, because on the other side they're going, That's not what's going to happen. You're going to be the only one in the room when they pass away that's holding the light. And just hang in there. Just hang in there. If you need to cry, cry, but hang in there. No, you don't have to preach to everybody in the room. Just have a different frequency. Bring some hope to people. And, I've done that, many, many times, obviously. That's how I like to live my life. And there's moments that to slip. And then you just bounce back as soon as you can. But if we want to see this different world, it's not through politics and it's not through science. It's by being the change we want to see in the world. And one of those things that I've already repeated a couple times, you do all this work to be that, and you're waiting for your chip that says now you won't have any more problems. And yet Helen channels A Course in Miracles, this book that has changed humanity in the top 5 books of all time that's changed human consciousness. And what did she get for it? Painfully died of cancer. It's all so unfair, but it isn't. She was fighting the whole experience of channeling the Course. What I'm saying is she's bringing through this frequency that this isn't ready to handle. So it caused painful death. Does that make sense? You're bringing through something. Now you try to do that with other things. Okay, in relationships and intimacy, I want to bring in something more profound. Watch what you pray for. I want to have an intimate experience that's beautiful, lovely. It doesn't have to be I'm in love. It doesn't have to be marriage. Just to even share with somebody, I want it to be a profound experience of love. Well, immediately the dating pool drops, man. There's lots of people, if you say, I have no sense of integrity or boundaries, everybody will do. It's okay. Anybody will do. Just easyhookups.com. And there you go. But when you start to say, yeah, but I don't want this and I don't want it, it starts to narrow down. And then you realize, no wonder the mystics tended to be, towards celibacy. But that's too extreme, actually. It's just that that's the natural conclusion. Now that I've raised the bar, there's nobody left, so I'm now celibate. And if you're like me, you can go years without intimacy and it feels fine, but you don't have to. That's the old school belief. There's the assumption. Instead, you can still eat meats, you can still have sex, you can still make mistakes. It's how quickly you forgive yourself. And when you really set the standard, no, 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 that's pretty cool because you're here. But ease up a little bit. You can be up here and still date. You just don't jump into, shallow experiences so much. You can still hang out with friends, but maybe you'll be the one that's not drinking. I mean, even in high school, I was like the designated driver. I would just get one beer and walk around with it all day, all through the hours. And people thought that was probably a 6. It's the same one. It's warm. You don't even see me drinking from it. I just, to blend in. Yeah. How's it going? How's that beer, Michael? Oh, it's, wow. I don't know. I never had any. So recognize the power of who you really are, what you're really here to do. And I'm sorry that it can seem painful. It can seem lonely at the top. Doesn't mean you can't have intimacy, but you're raising the bar and who, how, when, in what form, in what vibe to this experience. Parenting, I want to be spiritual, but I got to deal with the kids all the time. Well, pray to be the presence, and it changes how you parent. And everything, really everything we do. My heart goes out to souls that I see that don't even know it's happening to them, that they're calling in their life, like an artist, frequencies that are very high, but they don't know how, like even the Mozarts of the world. They would describe saying, you're like, oh, look at that. Just the music they bring through, the Mozarts, the Beethovens, right? Brahms and all these others. Wow, it's just, but interview them. And they're like, inside, they're like, like, God, you bring through such heavenly frequency. What do you mean? Well, they're like, no, I hear these sounds of heaven. And then I sit and try to replicate it, and it never works. I can never get those perfect sounds into musical notes. And they're tense about it. And I get it. Do you get it? Have you had that in your own way? See? The lovemaking, the parenting, and the music you channel, we can't get it, and that's part of the ego's ploy. Try as you may, you will fail, and I will make you suffer for it. And we have to say, not if I keep forgiving myself. So instead, I channel that sound, that song, and I accept. Here's what I heard, and that's the best representation for now. See, that's peaceful. I hear how we could run a nation, but I hear how we could parent, and you just accept that it's okay. You're doing the best you can for now. That brings peace. But it's okay to say, and show me more. And then I'll close with this idea. There was one musician and painter, artist, and the short version of the story was, instead of just, he would get frustrated, like, he's painting spiritual paintings, people buy him for thousands of dollars and so on. But instead of settling, like, he started channeling colors that he called not colors, pigments, light frequencies. So he said, I paint with light, not pigments. And I totally got that. You see what I'm saying? So you could be a clothing designer and still, I don't accept that it's dense materials. The materials are going to be frequencies, colors and shapes, and of the flow of the garment is going to symbolize a frequency. You get that? We can do this in all areas, from structuring a business to parenting or whatever else, lovemaking and all that. It's bringing, what's the way to bring it through at the highest level? But it can be frustrating when the world doesn't get it. It can be frustrating. Why does that person wear that hat, the odd hats in Tibetan Buddhism? Why does a person have a bindi here? Why? It looks weird to other people, but to people in the know, it makes total sense. Why do I wear a cap on my head here? It's a fashion thing? No. These are all symbolic, and the world doesn't typically get it. Why can't you have a beer? See, the world wants you just to kind of cave in. And if you do, you'll suffer for it because you know better. But then you can be your own worst enemy if you make your life too strict and rigid with, I mustn't do anything because then I'm being too in the illusion. Your job is not to avoid the illusion, it's to bless it. You see? So if someone's, caught up on something, you're taking their hand, you can download things. Your thought of them can download things. Making love can download things. You can be at a party where people are doing the usual whatever's, getting stoned, and be the one holding the light. And it's not always easy. One of these parties I was at as a kid, it was like everybody's, drinking whatever. And I just, the girl whose party was at her house, I used her car and took everybody home. She had this big station wagon, made a couple trips, dropping off loads of drunk people, to their houses, and then had to drive back to her house to give her car back. She's, I think, passed out by this time. But back to her house, leave her car, and walk home. And I get home late, and I get all punished. Where were you? You were past curfew, and this and that. And honest to God, at the time, it's a bummer. I'm being punished, but look at the good I was doing. So I can be a victim, or I could just say, how did you not know, Dad, that I would be about my Father's business? I mean, that's what you can hit him with. Do I think that means he's going to go, I didn't realize, son? By all means, stay out as late as you like, because I know you're doing the work of the Lord. I just didn't even bother explaining it to him. I'm just, okay, have at it, punish me as you will. It'll all come back to you guys, all right? The day will come when we see clearer and clearer and go, it all makes sense. The craziest people you dated, you were either part of the crazy or you were bringing light to the crazy. You get to decide which one it was going to be, all right? Thank you. Please take a few centering breaths. God bless you all for being so open to learning and sharing and hearing. One of you asking healing self and others, and that we've covered a lot of that here. Just bring your light. It's much harder to bring your light to a world you've already judged. So it's easier when you say, oops. I judge this world as a challenging place, and yes, I'm trying to bring light, but I've already judged it. God, how would you have me see this world so that a blessing can stick instead of fight to be taken in? I want to change my consciousness. You can suffer from physical, emotional challenges. You can have brain fog. And these are all our resistances to the light of God. Everyone is in a form of mass hypnosis, a trance, believing that we're separate and unworthy of God in our being. To get home, we have to awaken from the dream, face our fears, and forgive everything.
Holy Spirit.
Notice all the things your human self can talk about or complain about. Just notice them. Things on the news, things in your life, just notice them for a moment. This is your human self. You have all kinds of issues, things you can be challenged by. Just notice them. In that lower self, look at what the lower self world offers. Does it really make your heart sing? No. So don't fight it. Just imagine you're rising from the lower self to your heart. And in your heart, open up for the light of God from above to shine down into your heart. Let the sounds in the music and tones be a song of your heart. Just be with it for a moment. Nothing else to worry about or think about. In your heart, opening to spirit, and just let your soul experience this.
Holy Spirit. Rising with the sun.
Place a hand or two over your heart center. Repeat quietly to yourself or out loud if you feel. Herein lies the peace of God. 3 times. And silence to experience the peace of God.
Oh. to the wonder of creation.
Slowly stretch out. Take the feeling with you back into the room. When you're ready, open your eyes. Look to someone on one or both sides and tell them, I'm so grateful for you. So grateful for you. How are we doing? Good. Grateful. Good. All right. We're going to, in a moment, take up our collection and say our closing prayer. Before we do either of those, can anyone share what did you learn or hear today that made the most sense, and or in the music or in the meditation? What did you learn or hear that was most needed or that makes the most sense for you? Yes.
Yeah, it's interesting because I had just got done reading about a student who was studying philosophy.
Uh-huh.
And the professor said to the student that everything on earth God made.
Mm.
Evil.
Right.
He made light.
Right.
He made all the stuff.
Yeah. Typical philosopher.
He said, after a pause, he said, no, that's not true.
Right.
He said, there is no cold
Right.
in the world because
Right.
it's just an absence of heat.
Right.
And there's no light,
Yeah.
there's no darkness.
So you have this example of someone being in the presence of a teacher and the teacher saying, God created all these horrible things as well as good things, horrible things. And people will take that hook, line, and sinker because they don't know the real truth. They got to make something up. And here's the thing. In this world, if you say, I don't believe that God did that, I believe this is an illusion, all they have to do is kick you. And when you go, ow, they'll say, liar, I thought you believed this was an illusion. Then why did you say ow? And you, oh my, now you're going to go into this depths of despair. I'm a hypocrite. Because this world has so much dense evidence that it's validating itself. That's what science does and all these systems. They try to validate themselves.
So just to finish the thought, he said, there is no evil, it's an absence of love.
Yeah.
Now, the student that said that was Albert Einstein.
Yeah. Nice. Thank you. Yeah, and Einstein, that what you shared was a story of Albert Einstein, who says, we're talking a lot of wisdom. Some of the great quotes. And I'm not saying everything he did was a channeling of perfect love. I'm saying I love beings that let those insights come through. Carl Jung, it's like, oh my God, he's like right to it. This is an illusion. Very compelling. The eyes make you think it's real. I mean, they're going almost to science to say, look, it's not true. And, we're going to get to a point where we're in the absolute knowing of this rather than just the theories. Yes, dear.
Yesterday I reread for the first time in a number of years Jonathan Livingston Seagull.
Oh, yeah.
And it was the one that has the 4 parts instead of just the 3
Mhm.
because he found that other part like later in life.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was reading A Course in Miracles
Right.
with seagulls instead. It was amazing
Yeah.
because it was like, really fly up and know the meaning of love. It's
Right.
not like all the other things are limitations, even when they were trying to fly fast.
Right.
And, trying to land in a
Wisdom coming through movies or shows or Jonathan Livingston Seagull. So you imagine that you're writing a book that just seems kind of entertaining, but yet you're channeling something you don't even realize. Now, that's a cool thing. That's an amazing, touched a lot of people, a lot of songs written related to that. And then he writes Illusions and goes another level of wow. And then he finds the IRS knocking on his door, taking all his money away. How could that happen? He changed my life. He deserved, don't know. You won't know how and why. Just make adjustments and my job is to keep going like this. I'm going to get hit from left and right because that's this world. King David, You know, I'm writing and I'm hacking to my left and my right. People are, you know, this is this world. I'm going to just trust that at the end of the day, you're still with me, God. I have to hold this knowing. I don't care if, as a Buddhist or whatever my philosophy would be, I must learn, and I will learn, hold your center. If you don't, you're drifting into the world, and now you're of the world again. But those of you who have been courageous enough to know the truth and respect the illusion, God bless you. It takes a little something extra. Yes?
The part that I liked was that you may have had a different bandwidth and come in with much less.
Yeah.
And there can be times where you can face frustration.
Yeah.
Because you remember something, but you can't understand why.
Experiencing that frustration of knowing something and yet not being able to express it or experience it quite right. Oh my God. I mean, I can't, how many times did I sit in my bedroom, like Brian Wilson from the Beach Boys, you know, Brian Wilson, who had this just this genius level of consciousness and no way to channel it. And when he's trying to channel deeper thoughts, he's running into the effects of, you know, using drugs, and it's all short-circuiting in his head. The poor guy. I have something to say. And all that comes out of him is songs like Sidewalk Surfing. When you know this, and yet you're writing surf songs. And he hated water and he hated surfing. So why? How? You know? And believe it or not, it's not just because of the entertaining songs. The harmonies that he was leaking into those songs were a frequency on the radio waves. We're driving, just singing along, but there's something happening. He'll pass away and he'll go, all I did was write surfing songs and I hated surfing. They're going to go, no. We'll play back a few scenes for you. And he'll hear harmonies. He'll see video of the Akashic records of harmonies that he created and it doing things to heal people's energy field and so on. That's not a theory. I'm telling you, this is how it works. Your art, your words, and do the best you can. Now, I'm, you know, I can take this stuff pretty seriously myself. And I go, well, if this is true, and it is, then I want to make sure I don't slip too often, because I know that every word counts. You see? So if I slip, I'm going to be extra frustrated because I know better. And that's what I'm saying. The more you know, the more you try to contain that in a human body. And you're like, but, oh yeah, but get back in your body and just, you know, chill. Yeah, but why eat? There's so much to do. Why sleep? Just shut up and go to sleep. Yeah, but why? It's an illusion. Shh. You know, just let go. It's okay, and to forgive and let go. But when you know this, you know every second can count for the light. And it's hard to just say, well, then I'll just settle for not so light. It's weird. And you just do the best you can. We created a center. We have board meetings. We have 3D things. And just do the best we can. And sometimes we're talking business, and then I'll just stop and then, hey, by the way, thank you for that. Thank you for each of them compliments and love, because it helps the dense stuff that we do get a boost of energy. Does that make sense? So do what you can in those kinds of circles. We're going to do our closing prayer. First, our collection. Please be as generous as you can be and share what you can. Your love offerings go in the bags, but any extra donations you can share into the baskets, that goes for people of lesser means or sometimes special projects. I mentioned this last week, I'll only mention it this last time. We're getting a new projector screen, and we are upgrading the projector for some of our presentations here. And we have all kinds of MUFON and other meetings that are going on here. People are really wanting to utilize the good audio video, and that's like $5,000 to get the screen and the projector. So any donations, if you can afford $20 or $2,000 or whatever, donate what you can. We greatly appreciate that. All right. Let's do our prosperity blessing together, please. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. Thank you. All right. While they're passing those, I'll share a couple more announcements, but one of them, somebody said that they got one of those fake emails that says it's from Michael, and it isn't. If it's from me, it'll come from the Global Center. And besides, I don't know how to type, so you'll probably never get an email from me. So that kind of helps right there, just to cut it. But be aware of those things. They do come up every so often that, especially with public figures or businesses, people send out these, I don't know what you call them, spam, there you go, spam emails, okay? Bless you. We have the crystal bed here if you're ever needing it. It's a healing room. There's a crystal bed in there with light that comes through each crystal over the chakras, doing amazing balancing work on your systems. You can call the office to learn more about that. There might be somebody in the foyer. I think Valerie's usually in there. If you want to sign up, she can sign you up for those sessions. If you're watching us on YouTube and all that, there's a few things you can do. You can watch us live on Sunday on Facebook Live. But there's also our YouTube channel that has hundreds of videos there. And we also have a couple of Zoom programs. Monday from 11 to 1, 12 or 1. It's just open questions and answers, and we just have a wonderful group. To get in that one, you have to sign up for Friends of Michael Mirdad Facebook group, okay? There's another group we do called the Daughters of Heaven, and that's every other Saturday. So you can join us there. We do have our Wednesday class this week. It's healing circles, so people that want to talk about personal things going on in their life, kind of like a rap group, kind of like a therapy group, but it's also learning how to do healing and witnessing, how to access and learn how to read people a bit better. So it makes you a better healer, person, therapist, parent, or whatever, but also you receive good healing. The last couple things, Saturday, November 30th from 10 to 6, and December 1st, is my Awakening Christ Consciousness workshop. If you want to know more about it, look online. You'll see it in our e-blast that sends out to people. And also there's flyers in the foyer, but you can learn more about that. Awakening Christ Consciousness. I do that once a year for the last 30 years or so. So thank you for all your attention, and thank you for being with us. How did you do today? Good? Feel good? One more time, giving thanks to our beautiful the frequencies and all, our musician for today, okay? Jaya Lakshmi. She's got a table in the foyer there with materials. If you just acknowledge, say thank you, whatever you'd like to do, leave donations for her, and whatever you can do to give her support. She's got materials you can buy. You can go online and check out website and all that. But she's been with us for years, and we really greatly appreciate her work. Yes. All right. Please stand for our closing prayer. All right. How you feeling? You feeling good things? Did it answer some of your questions? Yeah, good. Please remember this. Remember there's 3 you parts: the spirit, the soul, and the human. All to be loved, but one with the truth. Okay? God, the I am presence. Go to the highest self, God, rather than just your higher self. But if all you do is go to your higher, that's better than your human opinions again. So reach for something higher, and I'm the type that says, why not go to the highest? And bring that highest presence everywhere you go, every handshake, every intimacy, every smile, every encounter, even ones that are going on in your mind. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we go, God is, I am, we are, and so it is. Peace be with you all. Thank you.